Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Mismatched. Now today I am sitting with Andrea Lo, who's the founder of Toronto Dating Hub and Toronto Event Hub, two top-ranked brands in the event social scene in Toronto. Now she launched during the pandemic to transform the way that singles and professionals connect, and she hosts over 10 unique events a month. So she's not busy at all. And she's been featured on CBC, CP24, The Toronto Star, and has even become a wedding officiant after a couple who met at her event. She has lots of success, and I'm so happy to have her here with me today. Hey, Andrea.
Hey,
how's
thanks
it going?
For having me.
Thank you for being here. I'm so excited because when I was looking for, interesting people always to bring onto the pod, I came across your website, the Toronto Dating Hub, and I was like, how have I not known about this? And when I was single, I wish I knew about this, So tell me how that kind of came about.
Yeah, I love actually telling this story because it actually came from a really dark time in my life. So in 2020, I was laid off of my job of like 9-10 years of my career.
Wow.
The boyfriend at the time, who I met off an app, and he lived in my building.
Oh,
broke up with me around the same time I got laid off.
No.
Yeah, and then my strict Asian family, during the pandemic, they're like, unless you move back in with us, you can't come see us. So in an instant, I lost 3 pillars of my life, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was a very sad time. And so I was like, okay, I'm very extroverted. Like, so if someone like me could feel very alone, what are people who are very introverted, like what would they feel like during the pandemic when we're all isolated? So I took all that negative energy, I took the lemons and made lemonade, and so that was where Toronto Dating Hub was born. And it was so crazy because the first events in 2020 were Zoom events, and this was before Zoom even had the breakout room function.
Really?
I was running like happy hour like singles events over Zoom.
Oh my goodness.
During the pandemic. And that's how the very first events were started, till now it's like full-fledged, obviously in person and being first in the world to do jet ski speeding. And so I do really fun and crazy things.
Hold on. Jet ski speed dating?
Yes.
Like, walk me through that for a hot second.
Yeah. So remember that movie Hitch with Will Smith? And
like one of the most iconic rom-coms of all time, yes. I'd like to say anyway.
So that's where that idea came from, where they go on this like jet ski date, right? And then, he kicks her off and falls off, right? So that was the idea. I was like, okay, I'm going to do jet ski speed dating. So I, got together. So a lot of my events, I support other local businesses. So I found a jet ski company. So I rented out some jet skis. So it's not like in the Will Smith date where you go on your own jet skis.
Right.
You actually go on together and share one.
Oh, I like that.
So your
life is in the other person's hands.
Yes.
Nothing like going out with a bang. Yeah.
Yes. What better way to get to know someone? And if you think about it, you're in your bathing suit.
Yeah.
And you have to hold on to that person.
Yeah. There's like physical, there's adrenaline
there's
pumping. Yeah. Trust.
Excitement.
Yeah.
What a great way to really bond. And if you fall in the water together, which has happened.
For sure. That's a great laugh.
You capsize together, then you learn to save each other or trust or never do it again. But like, it's so much fun. And it was quite the experience.
Was there like success that came of that? Like, did people, do you hear of that? Maybe I should be asking that first. It's like, because you run so many of these, do people let you know about success stories and what comes of it?
Yeah, I wish more people did tell me.
Yeah.
But I get, privacy. And then, sometimes when you're dating, you're like, well, I don't know where this is going yet. Like, unless you're like maybe married or like it's been a few years, you might not say it. Because how many people wait to even tell their family until it's like really official? Right. But I do know about 2 marriages. I do know about like some 1 to 2 year relationship now. Like they're
that's
they
great.
Met their parents, and so there's a lot of relationships. But even out of jet ski, like they do go on to like dates afterwards, or they stay back and they continue. Like they'll do the after party. It's like I want to continue. Like we're having a great chat. Like so if you're not,
let's continue this over a drink or coffee.
Definitely. But actually, on that note, I want to say that the success stories now, and when people are like, "Is there a success story?" I always want to change the narrative in my space about success stories. Should be even like coming out of your shell, like anything that's different from your norm, because these days not a lot of people even get married. So
Totally.
you know what I mean? Or, you know, all these relationship statuses that are very changed. So to me, like success stories when you come out is even doing something different.
Yeah.
You're introverted or, you know, just coming out of a shell. You know, people that are like, I would never be caught dead doing X. And then it's like, then they come to my event and that's already something very different. So, and meeting lifelong friends. I mean, there's so many different levels of success, I think.
That's a really cool perspective and way to go about defining what success and relationships really looks like, because I think today more than ever, it does look differently. So of the singles that walk through your event, like how do you go about, is it like open invite to men and women? Are more men than women coming? Like break that down for me of how these people get into one room. Like how does it all come together?
I mean, first I try to post, you know, on social media. So that's
Yeah.
how they hear about it. Now, very interesting. Under the age of 40, there's more men that like the meal tickets will sell out like crazy, like fast.
Really?
Under 40. But then over 40, 45, it's like crickets, like where'd they all go? And then that's where like, so it's harder to get women under 40, 45. But then over 40, 45, it's like, they're like, when are you doing more events? You know?
Interesting.
So
Why do you think that is?
The truth is, I feel like men who are older and they're established and maybe whether they're been married or not, it's like, I think they're like, I can date younger women now. Or like, I don't care about this and that. Or maybe the people who are like, I already have kids, I'm divorced, I don't need that anymore.
Yeah.
So they're like, I'm going to go for, that's my hunch.
I
So
love
if you're
that.
out there and you're like, I'm wrong, tell me. But I talk to
That
men
is
of
so
age
funny.
where they're like, I don't, you know. And women maybe in their 40s, they're like, hey, I want to have kids or I want to get married now, right? So there's just like a shift in.
For sure.
Yeah.
I was talking to you earlier before we started, a Reddit thread earlier today. And the Reddit thread was...
I'm scared because
was
Reddit,
first off hilarious.
Reddit is not the best place to
Oh,
find
I know.
things. Yes.
But the conversations are really funny and people are super ballsy in what they write down.
Very passionate.
And very passionate, yes.
That's a nice word to put it.
Exactly. And one of the things that I was reading, or the threads that I was reading, was that someone was like, you know, dating events. And they were talking about the type of men and the type of women that go. And they're like, I just don't understand why every woman at these events or that goes to and attends is like super well dressed, successful, you know, outgoing, beautiful, has their quote unquote shit together, you know?
Yes.
And then, then the person went on to say, whereas the men are like dorky, weird, creepy dudes that go to these events. So I want to hopefully squash that narrative.
Yeah.
Tell me, Andrea, that's not the case.
So unfortunately,
You
as
can't
much
weed
as I
out the
don't
creeps.
think Reddit
Yeah.
is very credible, let's start off with that.
Okay.
So and for context, so I do 10 events a month. So last year alone, there's like 4,000 singles that came through my events.
Wow.
So I have data, right? So and I'm very genuine, right? So
Yeah.
what I will say, and not all guys are dorky, okay? Let's put it out there. But I will say there is a gap,
Yes.
a significant gap. Of
Okay.
if you overall, because you can't generalize everybody, but
For sure.
overall, even I see that the women that come out, like I never have to be like, hey, lady, can you dress up a bit better? You're not showing yourself off. I've never had to say that. And even the worst dressed, and they're not worse, but the worst dressed female is not even in comparison they're
to
still
the
better dressed than the. Do you know what I mean? Like, and not even talking about how they dress, because for my events, because I do events for professionals, and they actually need to have like 3 to 4 set criteria before they. Yeah. So I know how much they're making. I know their job titles. I know, and if you had to cover like the gender column, you'd be amazed at what these job titles and the criteria. And if you were to like lift up and you're like, wow, these are all the women, like we have come out like very headstrong now.
Yeah.
And so there's a shift where it's like, I feel like as women have been like upgrading themselves throughout time, men, it's like stagnant. It's like, what
Yes.
happened?
Yeah.
You know, and it's not just
What
about,
happened?
yeah, no, it's not just about your career. Because
Yeah.
sure, I can check off like they're professional, like as in they make
But like self-care and all of
make
that.
money, but
Yeah.
it's like, what happened? Like the level of care that women put into looking good, like our hair and our makeup. Like we
Yeah.
don't leave the house until we look a certain way.
Oh, you best believe
Right?
this face doesn't, you know, if I'm walking outside without makeup, I've got a baseball hat and glasses where I'm incognito.
Even if you're going to the grocery store or the
Totally.
convenience store,
And especially if you're single, because you're always
you don't know where you're going to find them.
Exactly. You're
could
putting
be
your best
like
foot
getting
forward.
an avocado and it could be like a hunk. Like, you don't know, but regardless,
true.
just like women are taking care of themselves. Like it doesn't matter what the reason. We're always gonna be put together for the most part, and then
Right.
men, it's like they let themselves go more. Like so, there is a stark difference between the sort of quality. And I will say in general, you know, so I do hear it's like, oh, people who don't need help, obviously they're not coming to the events, right? They'll be doing well on dating apps or just in general, like they don't need to come to the events. But then what does that make it of women who come? It doesn't mean that they're crappy quality or not.
Right.
But there is what's been trending hot topic is that there is a larger number of, I call them boss babes, like independent, like got their shit together, what you said, women. There's a lot of us compared to the men on that same level.
Interesting.
So we're outnumbering, the women are
Them.
outnumbering the single men that are of that same sort of
Caliber. Right.
And the ones, and if you think about it, if there is a guy who's attractive, shit together, career, like, you know that song 6'5" Trust, like
Yeah.
not that that's
6'5",
the only
blue eyes.
not that's the
trust
only
fund.
ideal guy, because that's actually a joke, but those women are outnumbering men in staggering numbers. So they can't just rely on the apps.
Well, that's why the pool feels a lot smaller,
Yes.
probably.
And if the guy is that attractive, you don't think he's going to be snatched up by women?
yeah,
And
or you think like something else is wrong as to why
right,
he's
or
not snatched
to be
up.
honest, some of these men, it's almost like as if they know they're the
Yeah,
hot
it's like a
shit.
game.
Some of them have the second, third,
Yeah,
girlfriend on the side,
Yeah.
mistress situationships, because they
Ugh.
feel like they can afford to
right.
do so for some of these guys. So they're like, I don't need to have one, or why settle down, because I know that women will want me.
So it's like we need to get, like we said, like these nerdy dudes to like just like get a better suit, and then they would join the other, the other
Nicole, this is-
caliber.
to be honest, why do you think I
Sorry,
have
guys,
coaching services
you know
that are
what?
styling and photo shoots?
So that matters. I know
Yes.
that sounds so superficial, and everyone's it's about what's on the inside, and I don't disagree with that. I really do believe that, but like attraction is important. And actually, I read like a really funny stat. It was like Forbes did a whole article on like dating in 2025. And one of the things that they had said was that millennials are the most like sexually active generation in comparison to Gen Z and Gen X. And I was laughing about that. And maybe this is just a testament to like, but like it matters. Like you've got to have that attraction and like chemistry. And to me, it's not like a foundational point, but it
Yeah.
is something
You still need to
that
be
separates
attracted.
your guy friend to your
Yes.
partner,
And attraction is very subjective, right? Like everyone's
Totally.
definition of like, it's not even just
What is
about
good
height
looking.
or like,
Yeah.
what's good looking. And I know people come to my events is like, looks aren't everything, but the main consistent thing through all, is do they take care of themselves? So the new kind of
Yes.
phrase, instead of saying hot or pretty or whatever, it's do they take care of themselves? Which
Yes.
again is a broader term. And it doesn't mean you have to have 6-pack abs or whatever,
No.
but you take care of
It means
yourself.
you shower. It means
Good
you're well
hygiene,
groomed.
but also
yeah.
like you probably work out or eat well, that you look a certain way. So that's a main thing. But this is why like one of my popular services is styling and photo shoot. But I will say that difference, having seen all these women and men come through, males, it's an easy fix at first. Like it's just wear something better, like take care, like get a haircut or a more
Yeah.
modern cut. Because I just find a lot of men, it's like they got a career, they're book smart, but then now they need to be a bit more like the etiquette, like how
Yeah,
to
they just
treat
don't know any
women,
better.
how
It's
to
like
treat
they didn't
women,
have a sister who yelled at them and said, you can't go out looking like that.
or you can't treat women like that. Like they have
Yeah,
no idea.
yeah.
They've worked on, so there's a large number of men who worked on their careers for the last 5, 10, 15, 20, like most of their adulthood, they cared more about their career. And I get it. For males, part of their identity and what they were taught at a very young age about, you got to be the man of the family, you got to take care. So career is a very large part of their identity. So they spend a lot of years dealing with that first, and very solely, because they're like, unless I establish myself in my career, I can't think about women,
family, and women. And
if they were never good at friendships and women anyways, it's very easy to use that as a scapegoat of like, I'm just focused on my career, and no one's gonna ever say that's bad of you to work on your career.
Right.
Whereas women, we never siloed that. We weren't like, I'm gonna take this many years to only work on my career, and then I'm gonna focus.
Then it's chapter for love, and then I focus on
we're like
love
tackling
and
things left, right, and center. We're like, we are multitaskers,
totally,
to like a default, and men aren't good, and it's scientifically proven. Men are not good at multitasking.
Yeah,
so that's why they silo. Like, I'm working on my career, then it's my love life, and then family. It's
compartmentalized thing. And it's like, I don't, probably so many people listening and watching have been like, the amount of times that a guy has said, I'm sorry, I can't be in a relationship right now because I'm focusing on my career. Bullshit. No way is that an actual legitimate thing to say, because you can do both.
But that's what I mean by women can multitask, and we're built like that.
Yeah.
Like, kudos to all the women who are like, I'm taking care of my family. Like, I've got kids, whether they're single parent or not, and they can do that. They can still do their career. They're still top of their game in their work, and they're still like taking care of there's no like, I'm sick today, I'm just not gonna show, like,
we just make it happen.
Yeah. So but men have been accustomed to that. And so part of sort of like my messaging and why I want to, like, that's why I have more male clients, it's to help them like, hey, it takes really small effort to actually make a really big difference.
Yeah.
Because in both women and men, like, yes, like you said, you have to at least be attractive to them. So, and this is a good way to stand out. So if in general, most guys are not looking a certain way. If you just you put on a blazer, put on some fitted clothes.
Simple.
Like, the transformation is just very huge.
So you've seen it firsthand.
Of course, and that's what I help people with. Whereas for women, where they struggle with is all internal. Sometimes it's self-confidence, or they require certain things, but that's, for them, it's not about like
an aesthetic. Like, it's a mental thing.
So interestingly, Nicole, I'd like to ask you, what do you think, when I ask and survey men what they look for in a woman, what do you think they're saying that they?
I think they're looking for like a hot woman, like someone who's pretty.
So yes, like in general, that's because men are very what they see.
Like,
they're
exactly
very, like,
what
visual,
they see.
Visual creatures, and that's been proven from time. But how women are like, okay, I want someone who's dressed as well and career focused and family oriented, and we've got a whole
we've got a list.
But it's also because we have that already. For men, they're like, I don't care how much they make. Like, sure, like, be put together, like, but for them, it's like, I want peace of mind. I want someone who's not gonna,
really
like when men are like, I don't want people that nag me. I don't want this and that. I don't want drama.
Yeah.
They want peace. So for them, the key word is peace. Someone who gives
that is
peace.
So interesting.
So it's not about,
women have this reputation of like nagging. Like, we nag because you guys are not doing what should be the bare minimum of standards.
Yes. And we can go into because there's the whole like double standards, because a lot of how women were brought up, it was like we needed to be put, like, we had to take care of the household stuff, but we also have to like have good grades, like the newer generation, like we had to have everything. And there's lots of talks where it's like, between brothers and sisters, and just it was unfair of how daughters and sons were treated.
Totally.
And
do you have an older brother?
I
or
don't, but
sister?
I've definitely like seen enough of it where it's like, why are daughters treated a certain way and why are sons treated a certain way? And that's a cultural thing that has been passed down over generations and generations. So that's why the people I see at the events, that hasn't stopped yet. Like, that
it continues.
It continues because it was passed on. And so that's why you've been seeing them. I don't want to say that they're lazier, but they haven't been pressured in the same way that females have. They have different pressures.
Right.
That's why the whole career thing.
Right,
and
is of like
provider,
of greater importance to men than it is women.
Right.
But I feel like now more than ever, Andrea, too, like at the same time, women are expected, I should say, to also do it all. Like, you're expected to have a great job And you're also expected to be a great mom, to cook dinner, and then go to work the next day and make money at the same time.
Because there's this whole, I don't want to say equal, but this whole like,
yes,
you know, man shouldn't have to provide everything. And again, cultural
but
differences.
But it's not equal because women are bearing children, which is honestly a full-time freaking job. And to be able to do everything feels, I mean, I don't have any kids, but like I say to my friends all the time, like, I don't know how you do it. Like, I really don't understand. And she's like, we just make it work. You just make it work.
You just figure it out.
But it's the expectation that drives me nuts. You know what I mean? That you're supposed to do that and you're supposed to do that. Meanwhile, men just have to go to work and come home and that's it.
And with those cultures, or the cultures that really promote the gender roles, that's why as they get into their adulthood and they enter the dating phase, there's that expectation. So to be honest, sometimes it's like, I'm not here to be your mom.
Yes.
Right? Like,
yes,
put food on the table for you, take care of you, almost bathe you, and then go to work. And, you know, so there's that whole, well, I guess what I'm seeing is like, there's the expectation of the gender roles, like of women need to do all this, but also the more modern thing of the you know, equality, where it's like, well, you should also work too and bring in the bacon as well.
Yes.
So there's this mix. So it's like men maybe like, you want the best of both worlds. You want someone to almost be like your mom and take care of everything, but at the same time,
then she has to provide and work hard and, you know, have a career.
Feminine, like you know, so it's definitely created a lot of like chaos and different expectations. But that's why for women, that's why we expect so much now in men, because it's like, if we can have all our shit together and take care of everything,
why can't
you? And for a lot of these, I call them boss babes again, right? Like, if we have all our shit together and we can technically take care of ourselves, and I mean, like, we can pay our own bills, we have our car, we have like, we want. So from what the women are saying is like, they want.
What have you done for me lately?
It's like, exactly.
To quote Janet Jackson.
What are you doing for me? It's not that I need you to.
Right.
But I want you to be able to. Like the old school days where the men are like, you don't need to pay for anything. And there's still culturally, there's a lot of cultures. I was just going to say,
there are some men that are very much like that. That
put
say,
away
like,
your purse.
I don't want my woman to pay for anything. I don't want her to do anything. Totally.
You know, I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to hire someone to take care of the kids. Or like, it's just a fully, you know. But yeah, there's just a big gap these days.
So like, and I was just talking about this with one of my best friends actually. And I feel like, and I don't know if you feel like this. Can I ask you, and I mean this in not an offensive way, Andrea, how old are you?
I'm almost 40.
Okay. So I'm in my mid-30s. I'm 34. I'm going to be 35. And I have found, and we were just talking about this, dating in your 30s is so much harder than dating in your 20s because people are more set in their ways. And I guess this then goes on to dating in your 40s and 50s, or maybe then you back off at that point. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. But I find like, because you're so set in who you are. And like you said, like, you know, you've been living on your own in this way for however many years, and you sort of have it figured out of who you are and what you want, then it becomes that much harder to compromise on things.
So your expectations are higher. Then in your 20s, you're still figuring it out, like you said, but you're also more flexible, and you're still thinking like, I'm young and youthful, so I have time to experiment and have fun. But in your 30s, and especially for women, unfortunately, we do have a biological clock. For the women who do want kids, and there's the biological clock ticking. So you're like, if you do the math of like, let's say if 40 is the cutoff, these days you can still have kids when you're 40, but it's riskier if you do the math. So then you're like, okay, I gotta work back. Like, how many years do I want to be before you get married? You have to know this person for how long. Maybe you want to live with them for a while. So you gotta work back. And next thing you know, you're like, I have to be 25. I gotta be 25 when I meet this person. But now
it's true
in
when you
30s.
Like calculate the time and the years that it takes to get to a certain point or whatever. It's so true. It's
We're
the
like,
mental
it's
math.
too late. If you're 35 and you're like, if I did the math, I needed to be 25 to have met this person, but I'm single right now. What am I doing? And that's when that race and that's why women are like probably thinking like, and again, we're very logical people too, right? And we're very smart people. So again, if you did the math, you're like, well, how will I meet men? Should I just rely on dating apps? Yeah. Should I just rely on like, I'm going to walk down the street and find someone? not gonna happen. So
let's take action. And why more and more women, you're saying, are like, or again, women who have their shit together, we'll call them boss babes, are going out to events like this because it's like, I'm gonna be an active participant in this assignment in my life.
How do you solve the solution? Right? Like if I want to get married, I gotta meet a man. How do I do it? I don't want to just walk up to a bar. Like we're not like men. We're just gonna walk up to a bar and be like, hey, you by the bar. So we're being very strategic. It's actually a very smart thing. Come onto the events, do the dating apps, do a whole bunch of, start going to yoga, like start doing all the things. And that's why you see very, very active women. Like I never really have to go to women like, hey, are you being social these days? It's usually the men again. They're like, yeah, no, I'm just at home playing video games, or I'm just working. I'm like, cool. So how will you meet women? You don't cross paths with them.
Right.
Because even ask them, I'm like, for them, like, do you come to singles events? They're like, no. I'm like, okay, so where do you meet people? How social are you? They're like, I'm not really doing so much right now. I'm like, okay. And to understand, if you do talk to someone, like you just hit, like, even if you were to hit up a bar and just strike up a conversation with someone, what do you think they're going to ask you? Oh, yeah, what are you into? What are you passionate about? What are you going to say? I don't do anything?
Yeah, I work.
Like, how attractive will that sound?
Yeah.
I don't really do anything. I'm just at home, being a homebody, watching TV. It's like,
yeah, that's not.
Next.
Yeah, thank you, next. Swipe, that's it. No, it's so true. Do you find at these events, and I'm sure you have a sort of like, well, you have different events for different groups of people too. I remember you were saying you're like, somebody who was really tall was asking you to create an event.
That's on my list.
That only brings in tall people.
Hear it now.
I would not be invited.
I want to be the first. I said that the other day because it was the people who asked. There was one, it was 5'10". She was 5'10", and then another one was like 6'1". So of course.
I have some tall friends that say it's really hard to date guys and find guys who are taller.
And then the women who overheard, they're like, we're not 5'10" and above, but we want to come to that event for tall guys. And I'm like, okay, hold on a second. But yes, I do different events. So like divorcee, like mixers for divorcees, because it's harder for them to meet people that understand.
For sure.
I did a single parents one.
Oh, I love that.
I recently did the marriage-minded one. So to kind of really call out, like, if you want to be married in 2 to 5 years, come to this event. Because on a natural thing, you're not going to be like, hey, Nicole, like, do you want to get married anytime soon? They'll be like,
weirdo.
Or do you want kids? So at this event, you already self-identify. When you buy the ticket, you already say that you want to. And I don't see why you would buy a ticket and lie. Like, because
you're wasting your time, their time.
Because most people shy away from, they're like, I'm not ready to get married, right? And it's like, oh, crap, like, I don't want to mislead them. But at this event, so I keep innovating and knowing all that I know about what singles are saying. I'm trying to create events that actually are answering their needs. So Marriage Minded is single parents one. I recently did one for teachers because they requested it.
Awesome.
So I'm taking a request. So anyone out there, if you have a request, like the tall singles one.
Yeah.
Someone said do one for first responders.
Oh, cool.
Because, they're on shift work. Like they're crazy hours. And another one said people in healthcare. And I was like, okay, those are the next kind of things that I'm going to do.
And so do you think that's like a way of kind of pairing people, that it is good to kind of date someone in the same field or job description as you? So that brings up a whole other thing because I've heard both.
Yes.
I totally get the idea that you want someone opposite than you because opposites attract and you balance each other out. But then I also can understand how you would want to date someone from your own profession or line of work because they just get you in a way that probably a lot of people don't, where there's not a lot of explaining that you have to do.
Yeah. So exactly. I've heard both because some people are like, I don't want to date like within my, because of.
I always used to say that, full disclosure. I was like, I will never date anyone in my line of work. Number one, because you don't shit where you eat.
Yes.
So
not like a colleague. I agree with that. Like, don't shit where you eat. Like,
never,
not your colleague.
Never.
But industry, I think, is fine because you're right. Then there's some industries like the first responders. They have really crazy, like the graveyard shifts. So someone who doesn't like works a 9 to 5 you're never going to see them almost, or they're not going to understand. And I'm not saying, because my sister and brother-in-law, like their schedules are exact opposite, but they made it work, right? Mm-hmm. But like you said, if you work in the same field, at least you get it. And so the healthcare idea, why they said that, I was like, well, these ladies are saying because they're both psychotherapists or psychologists and psychotherapists, but they're like, sometimes you just want to talk about some notes, but you're like, oh, confidentiality. Like, but you just want to be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then you can, so that like, oh, please create like a networking event, but like singles. So we can kind of like, we get it. We get the same, you know.
Right.
And
It's the same like talk shop, so to speak.
For example, someone in that field, if they do talk to someone, there's a confidentiality, but also sometimes that other person feels pressured, like, oh, are they like therapizing me? Like, are they like coaching me right now? Or I got to be on my best behavior because they're going to say I'm not, you know. But anyways, so and there's some people who's like, I will never date someone in my field. Like I heard police officers, because they've come to the events too. They're like, police officers, you know, the stereotypes. Is like,
I was just gonna say, it's the stereotype, and I even feel with like teachers a lot of the time. This is based on a study that I have read, and don't quote me on this, but it was something along the lines of like, you know, teachers are known to be cheaters. It's just coming out like word vomit. Yes, because
I heard that about
police officers as well. That was like, they were like top 3 or 4 professions were like police officers and teachers. And then I think it was like doctors and nurses as well, because it's like so
the crazy hours.
You spend a lot of time with these people.
Yes.
I think
like
it's the time.
work husband wife.
Yes.
And just
that then leads to something else. Yeah.
There might be something to that.
So maybe in the field, but yes, don't shit where you work. Don't date in your school. Date someone else.
Yes.
Or not in your district or division. Date someone else in another division.
Yes.
Or district.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
But yeah, even holding the teachers one, the icebreakers I came up with to, I think I asked them like what are you known for in your school, or like how do you teach differently? Like what would you say you bring to the table? And it was quite interesting to have them. So we did a round table because it was a more intimate event. And it was really cool what they shared. And that's kind of what I try to do at the events too, is like, how do I have icebreakers to bring out, given all this, some people are nervous or some people have predisposed, whether stereotypes or things or like a type. So I try to create even icebreakers within the event that will bring them kind of like together, but also bring out another side of them that they wouldn't see. So even for the marriage minded one, we go round table and I make them say, just so it's not too long, but it's like, give me one word, which like that describes what you bring to the table to a marriage.
Oh.
And when we go in a circle, and this is where the listening skills, it's like you cannot repeat a word that's already been said before.
There you go. So if someone has repeated, it's like, done, not for me.
You don't even hear, you know? And so that gets like creative where they're like, okay, you said independent, so I'm gonna say something else. Like, so they pick another word, so they're showing that they listen. But then, because sometimes you judge a book by its cover, and you're like, that's not my type. But then they say something really cool. So for example,
changes your perception of like who they are.
Yeah. For example, one person who may look nerdy, and then they said road trips, and you're like, okay, road trips. Like, and if you're adventurous, but sometimes again, what they look like. Maybe they look really shy, and I didn't picture him saying road trips.
Or that wouldn't even maybe necessarily even come up in a conversation.
Like unless you know to say that.
Exactly.
And yes, unfortunately, not everyone's conversation skills, and especially like layer on nerves. Yeah, it could just be like, so what do you do for work? Like where do you live? Okay, like
there's nothing worse than having to like pull something out of somebody on a date, like where it feels like an interview because they're so nervous and they can't, like, they don't have the courage, and or like they're too in their head that they can't ask you something back, that you just feel like you're drilling questions. And I mean, I do this for a living, but I've totally been on dates where I felt like I was like constantly just asking. I was like, this is exhausting.
Because you're like, I gotta fill the air, or like whatever. Yeah. And again, what I've seen, and again, just the quality, but women are great conversationalists, like naturally. We like think about the gossip, spill the tea. Like we're talkative creatures, and we're expressive, so we can. We're
better
silence.
Communicators,
better
for
communicators.
Sure.
So and women, we're very nice people. So we're like, yeah. And meanwhile, we're like
dying inside.
We want to like leave this conversation.
Yeah.
And so part of what I coached my male clients is like, let's work on those conversation skills. You cannot come to an event with like, I tell them like, come up with questions in advance.
Yeah.
And not the ones that are just like, oh,
What do you do?
No,
So
but
what
Nicole,
do you do?
some of the why are you single?
Oh no.
Like, cause they're thinking, what's a beautiful woman like you? Like
Yeah.
here at this event,
They
and
think
they're
it's
thinking
like a
it's
compliment.
But
Yes.
it's a backhanded one that's like, what are you
Yes.
trying to say? Like, and they don't even and that's another thing, they don't even realize it. So here they are trying to be all like, I was giving her a compliment.
Complimentary, yeah.
And meanwhile, it's like, no, it's like the social cues are so off. And anyways, but part of it is practicing. Like they need to actually practice being social. And that's part of a lot of people's homework where I'm like, this is what happens when you don't go out to social.
Yeah.
When you just stay at home and be a homebody, just work on your career. And a lot of these men work in, like, if they're a developer, like in tech, like you're talking to a computer screen all day.
Yeah.
You don't need to have meetings. You don't, so they're not even
Right.
talking to people. So they need to be more social. Even if it's go to a game night, go to a bar, just talk to someone. You have to do
Yeah.
activities where you're talking to people. So if you actually ask a lot of these men, that's another observation. A lot of them have their solo activities, video games. Do you technically? And then they argue with me. They're like, no, but I talked to the people on the other side that were talking about the game. And I'm like, that's not real. And you don't even know who that other person. You've never seen them in person.
Right.
I'm talking about in-person interaction.
Well, because then there's body language that becomes a whole other layer of how you interact with somebody as well, and eye contact and things like that.
Consideration, like even sometimes, like, do you hold the door for people? Do you consider, like, the first thing you did was ask me if I wanted water when I come? It's a hospitality thing. But when you're not around people,
Andrea, like most guys don't know that.
But most guys are like, I didn't care if my guy friend didn't ask me if I needed water. And it's like, okay, but it's not about if you care. It's the thought that counts.
Yeah.
Women, no, like we've been taught all these things because we were taught to be hospitable people.
Right.
So there's that missing layer of men who, if they haven't been social enough or been around more women, the people who have been around more women in general, whether it's the men who have sisters, they're fine.
Yeah.
Because they know their
For
sisters
sure.
have.
For sure. Because there's a different like expectation from not only what she is going through, but what you would want for her.
Yeah.
Because
if you care about your sister,
right.
and like, and the sisters have trained you, right?
100%.
They tend to dress better. They tend to know those nuances
100%.
about how to, how to be good to women. Their sisters have taught them.
But I love that you said that because I think innately, and this is like genetic and over history, women are like nurturing people. We haven't that innately, that in relationships, sometimes it can, or even when you're meeting somebody, it can often feel like, oh, it doesn't matter if I can hold the door for myself and I don't need him to do that. And he doesn't have to pay the bill on the first day. I'm happy to pay it. Like, and it may seem like super small things, but I'm telling you, it's like setting you up for like a tornado of a relationship and standards and expectations. And like, there's nothing wrong with, I'm sorry, and maybe this is wrong for me to say, the man should hold the door for a woman. Like that should just always be the case. Bless my boyfriend's heart. That is one of my favorite, like small little things that he
chivalry.
does. He will open the car door he will get out quickly, come and open the door. And I've never like asked or even really expected that, to be honest. Because I've been in plenty of relationships where that's not the case.
Yeah.
But it's like such a little thing that means so much,
Yes. And I love that you brought that up because, again, observations. So culturally, certain cultures have taught that of men to be like, this is how you take care of, it's just mannerisms.
Yeah.
It's just etiquette. So it includes holding doors, but also the whole like walk on the side of the street.
Yes. So also my boyfriend does that as well. And that has never happened to me before.
Certain cultures have taught that because you're like, you want to
the man should be closer to the road
where the cars
to
are.
protect.
So
yes.
So, because I've like when I very first like long ago, it was like the men would almost push me over, and I'm like, how rude are you? No, they're like, no, I want you to be on the safe side. I was like, oh, I learned it was a culture, usually European, but I was like, I really like this about this culture. Like, please now do it more. But the number of men, oh man, like one of my exes had to teach. It was like, I'm wearing heels. We're going out for dinner. It's winter because we're in Canada. Like winter. Doesn't open the door and then doesn't drop me off to the front.
That is key of importance.
But some people are like, this is princess treatment. And it's like, no. So do you want me falling? Like, Do you want, it's just,
it's safety treatment is what it is, not princess treatment.
It's
Although
not.
I wouldn't be opposed to princess treatment either.
Yes. But again, and just to show you, like, so usually when I'm setting up for an event, but sometimes people get there early. So I'm carrying like heavy bags, or like now I have a wagon, but before I used to can carry things. And so I'm like struggling with the door, or like I look like I'm struggling.
Right.
And it's almost like a test. I don't expect anyone, but it's really interesting to see who actually offers you.
Yeah.
And then there's that, no, I'm obviously going to say no because it's my job to do it.
For sure.
But it's just like some people are like, go out of the way. No. I'm like literally taking it off my hands. I'm like, there's a small difference of like when a man does that, or like, it's like, this is nice. But that's, and people will say this, you've probably seen TikToks about it, like the bare minimum versus princess treatment.
Yes.
The standards are so different now.
Yes.
And so now, and that's a whole controversial thing about how some men think those kind of things, it makes us high maintenance if we expect those things.
But why is what I can't understand. Like, what's high maintenance about opening a door for somebody? And I know we were talking like very heterosexual like relationships, but just in any sort of partnership, if one partner is like, the one who is like courting the other, like that's just, to me, like what you do.
That was just mannerisms and etiquette. Yeah. It's one thing where I draw the line, and you might
tell me.
There,
no, tell me. I want to know where the line is.
Okay. Man holding your purse. Is that bare minimum or princess treatment?
I think that's princess treatment.
Okay, I agree.
Okay, yes.
Okay, we're on the same page.
I wouldn't expect that. It's my bag. I decided to get it and pull it out and bring it.
Like, I'm talking about big bags. Grocery bags.
Yes.
A duffel bag that I'm carrying.
Yes.
And of course, when the purse isn't a girly purse, it's like, and would I appreciate a man doing it? Yes, but I don't expect that.
Right.
And certainly not my purse. Only if I need to tie my shoelaces or maybe go to the washroom.
Right.
We never want.
Can you hold this while I get this? That sort of thing.
So many things I have to teach talking about purses. Males, do not ever put a purse on the floor.
Never.
You know when they're like, yeah, let me hold it. Can you hold this for me? I said, can you hold it for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. There's a chair, a couch, anything. Yeah. So I always coach my male, never ever put a purse. It doesn't matter what brand. It's like, do not put a purse. It sounds very simple,
but yes, you just don't do that.
Because it means like you don't respect and it's just
for sure.
You.
What else do you think is bare minimum versus princess treatment that a lot of people talk about?
The first one bothers me because some people are like, no, they have to carry it, and I'm like, no. First date. I'm old school. A male should pay.
Me too. I'm old school too.
The new school people are saying it's whoever asked for the date. Well, first of all, traditionally, it is usually a man that asks. Yeah. I'm not saying they have to, but traditionally, that is more expected of the male to make the first move and be proactive. Mm-hmm. So I will say I feel chivalrous. It's a male pays, and a male should be planning.
Okay, I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. Do you think asking for like a coffee date is bad before an actual commitment to like a dinner or like a night?
Like let me break through. Are you trying to say, is a coffee date like too cheap, like not a good idea? Yeah. Great question. I talk about this a lot. So coffee dates aren't bad. And okay, so here's the thing. I get why men have brought this up as a concern, because they're like, dating is expensive. Like, how many first dates do I have to go on?
I also read a stat recently. It was like
someone
minimum people are spending about like $300 to $400 a month on just like dates.
Yes,
which is a lot
for the lucky guys who can get the dates.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, so it depends. There's some more like old school traditional guys that are like, no, I'm bringing them to a meal. That's good. That's more traditional. But yeah, it can get expensive, and depending on where your bracket of your income and all that, and you want to be mindful. So coffee dates aren't bad. However, what I tell people is it's okay to bring them to coffee or drink, whatever their drinking choice is, beverage, because not everyone drinks alcohol, right?
Right.
And coffee dates are good because some women are like, why are you inviting me to a bar at 10 p.m.? Like, what's happening, right? So it depends. But what I'm saying is just don't bring them to a Starbucks or Tim Hortons. No offense to those brands. But there are so many other coffee shops that are so cute. They make you are not. So
that's a,
you know what I mean?
That's so important that you said that. I was literally with a friend of mine who I will not name the other night, and she was saying, I feel bad, but like for saying this even because she's the nicest girl that I know. And she's like, he asked me to go to Tim Hortons for a date. She's like, am
First
I?
date?
Yeah, first date. She's like, am I an asshole for thinking that that's not like great?
No.
And here's the thing is, I really don't think he knew better, but also guys need to know that. Like if coffee is fine, but yes, put some care and thought into finding somewhere that's cute and quaint or has a garden or whatever. Like there's gotta be thought behind where you're taking someone.
Basically, it's like the same thing. Even if you take someone to a restaurant, if you take me to Jack Astor's,
right?
Like,
yeah.
Some really good rule of thumb is just like, does this store have a second location? Pick ones that don't, that they're not a chain. How's that?
Oh,
we'll keep it really simple.
That's a
It
great.
doesn't have another location, or maybe max 2, because some really good restaurants.
Some do franchise, and it's good.
Like for
good
example,
for business.
I don't know why I just thought of like Grazie. Like there's one in Vaughan and there's one in Midtown.
Yeah,
right. Like that's okay but it's not Tim Hortons. They're in every little city and town and Starbucks and Starbucks are like, but Starbucks is, but still Starbucks is still Starbucks. It's a dime a dozen. Can you even Balzac's is a little step up, but. Like the neon coffee, I can name, and
we are grading coffee shops on this episode.
Yes, and honestly, their price points is about the same.
It's true,
days. But pick ones that actually make latte art. How's that? How's that as for a rule? Pick one that makes latte art. And
Andrea,
these days, no, Nicole, like it's the bare minimum. These days, I get surprised when people are like, I'm like, how did you find my company? They're like, I chat GPT'd you. Exactly. Everyone out there between Google,
it's possible.
And ChatGPT,
you have resources.
You can literally be like, name me 10 best spots in Toronto or whatever city, Vaughan, wherever you are. Yeah. Name me 10 best spots to take your first date. You don't even need to think anymore. They will tell you.
It's true. It will think for you. But it's just the effort of like looking that up.
Yes. And that's another thing. Do you feel, is that bare minimum or princess treatment to make a reservation?
No, I think that's bare minimum in my eyes.
And to be honest, it's not even about princess treatment. For me, especially as an event planner,
it's like you care.
It's
just
also
a thought.
Smart. Do you want to pull up to a place and be like, oh, did you make reservations?
Yeah.
No, I just, I guess we'll wait here. And then you spend the date waiting. Sure. Are you just testing their patience? Or how much better will if you pull up and then they say, do you have reservations? Yep, it's under John for 2 at 7:30. And we're a little bit early, but hopefully that's okay.
Yeah.
The
what
girl
a
would
step
be like,
up of tone of like how the date is gonna go. Truly, it's a small thing, a small amount of effort it takes to call or go to Open Table and book something, but it makes a huge difference.
Like huge. And these days, again, you can book it right from like when you search it.
It
makes it
you can
so
do it right on
you.
from maps. Yeah.
And that's another thing. What I teach them is like, how are you getting there? And if you're driving, why don't you ask her how she's getting there?
I was just going to say that. I don't think it's common anymore for a guy to scoop up a girl and I get
anymore.
And again, I say this in a hetero relationship, but like I feel like that never happens anymore. It's I'll meet you there. Well, number one, for safety reasons, of course. But also
ask.
People don't
it's
ask.
The perception of just asking. You don't actually, because then they start to rebuttal and say, Andrea, I don't drive. I don't what if like it's so expensive? It's just asking.
Yeah.
How are you getting there?
Yeah.
Okay. Do I need to choose a place? Like, and where do they choose a place? Do you just choose one that's closer to you?
Yeah.
Did you find out? It's not about asking exactly where she lives. It's just, hey, are you coming from Midtown, downtown? Okay, I picked somewhere close. And it's like halfway point or even choosing something close to her.
Yeah, that's very considerate.
It's just thoughtful. Mm-hmm. Everything's just the perception of like just be thoughtful. That's all, right? And again, goes back to women.
And it's so hard to teach that. That's the thing. Like sometimes I love my boyfriend, but sometimes I want to bash his head against the door because I'm like, how did you not think? He's like, oh, I just didn't think. And I'm like, yeah, that's the problem. Like you're not thinking. You're not using your head. I'm like, and when women are so incredibly thoughtful, I'm like, what do I have to activate your brain to like start thinking,
Because even for girls' night, we'll be like, okay, when is everyone free? Does that work for you? Yeah. Are you having a crazy week? Is this going to be good? Oh, I know you love margaritas. There's happy hour. Like you remember the preferences. You ask how they're doing. Are you going to be running? Like,
it's just very different. Yeah. Very different.
And the huge thing is love languages.
Yes.
So, I always advise people like know what your love language, know your own. but then find out what the other person's love language is. Because I feel like one of the biggest problems when again, I had to educate a lot of people what love languages are.
I feel like men more so than women
Yes,
probably too.
absolutely. And the men who do, I'm always like, oh, emotionally intelligent, and they've worked on themselves. But knowing that, because there's so many people who always say, you don't love me, you don't do X, Y, Z. And really what that is, if you actually look deeper into it, they're just not speaking the same love languages.
Right.
So when you actually understand, what each of your love languages now, and I don't know if you know this, but men tend to, one of their first prevalent is touch. Physical touch is men's huge, and it makes sense. They're more physical and visual people, so touch. But like, imagine someone's like, I need time, I want you to spend more time with me, and he's like, but I just want hugs and sex, or whatever. And so that's why it always seems like a mismatch. So look at like acts of, if someone was acts of service, look, I do the dishes, I do this for you, I clean, I do.
But you don't tell me enough how much you love me.
Yeah, like, or it's like, and
yeah,
like all you do is just want sex or hugs, but I do this. But it's because you speak different love languages.
Yeah,
so if you
sure.
knew that in advance, you kind of know, when he does this, that's actually him.
That's his way of
love.
telling me that he loves me or that he cares about me. Totally. And it's not even for for yourself, identifying what you need, but also what you have to give to the other person, I think is really important. Because like you said, they could be different, where you're telling him how much he loves you, but he doesn't really understand that, because that's not how he receives love. And exactly.
So if you think about, some people are like, I haven't had sex. Like, you hear about those couples who haven't had sex in however long.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Yeah.
And imagine, again, if inherently their love language is physical touch, sex falls under that. It's not just sex. But imagine you don't cuddle anymore, you don't kiss, you don't get intimate anymore, and that's their love languages,
then they don't feel loved anymore.
And then do you think someone who doesn't feel loved would then give you all the things that you need?
Yeah.
So if you hold out on them for months, I hear some couples haven't gotten intimate for a year or more.
Oh, wow.
Yes, in married couples. And
really?
So I know a lot of times we joke around and talk about sex, they're dogs, they're just, but if you knew about love languages, again, and that was their love language, you've literally starved them of love, yet you're expecting all these things. So sometimes it's just a very simple thing that we had to understand, and it unlocks a lot of things. So actually, love language is something I really teach also to my clients, of just this small little thing is gonna save you in the end.
For sure. It's again, it's the communication, which is the root, I think, of a lot of people either dating successfully or in a relationship successfully or not. Because I also think, and I don't know if you would agree with this or not, but do you think it's important to find someone, what do you value the most for compatibility? Is it values? Is it attraction? Is it love languages? Career should be the same. Mm-hmm. What is the most important value, would you say? And
I'd say values.
Yeah.
Throughout time and culturally, if you have aligned values, everything else will sort of line up. Because, for example, if you don't have the same music tastes,
doesn't matter.
If you don't like the same things, because a lot of people go we don't like the same things.
Yeah, or we don't have the same hobbies. Let's just say,
yeah. But if your values are the same, so are you both family oriented? Do you both care about self-improvement? Do you guys do you value the same things? Do you value learning about cultures, your values? If you're aligned, those other things tend to be more aligned, right? Mm-hmm. Do you value taking care of yourself? Which means naturally you're going to both want to work out. You both want to eat healthy.
You don't need
to convince someone, because you have the same values. But if you don't start with the same values, that it will end up being oh, Nicole, you're being a little lazy right now. Because she doesn't care, you know what I mean? You don't care about the same things.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
If someone doesn't care about traveling, you can keep being you don't love me, we're not traveling. Yeah. But that's not maybe that wasn't one of their values. They care more about something else. So if you took the time to, in your process of, courting and getting to know someone, find out what their values are.
Across so many different areas of, importance.
Yeah, because values are they're not finicky. They don't change. You know how our taste, people being vegetarian or eating meat, that's sometimes something that stays with us. But let's say today I'm like this, and as we mature, our tastes change, our preferences change, but values
don't
tend
really
to
change.
Like if you've always been family oriented, I don't imagine one day you're like, nope, I don't care about family.
Screw them.
You don't,
Yeah.
right? If you care about integrity,
Yeah.
you don't all of a sudden be like, that's not important to me anymore. Like it rarely ever kind of changes, or it takes many, many years or really maybe traumatic experiences for a value to change. So that's why if you think about long-term relationships and marriages, that's why values can be such a strong foundation and footprint to hold on to versus really caring about like we have nothing in common, like our preferences or, you know, like that's not as important.
And so do you say that to a lot of your clients and or people who are going to these events? Like, hey, like this is like something that you should talk about more than the latter.
Well, that's why so I have these like conversation cards on the table that are questions like, for example, should you marry for love or security?
Oh,
right? Or like,
that's a good one.
what can women do better? Or like, do you believe in gender roles? They are good questions. They're not asking you like, what do you do?
Those are not light questions.
Yeah, but there's ones that's like, oh, what if your partner cheats on you? What do you do? It's like real questions, but they were interesting ones, but they uncover what their value is. Like, how would you react in this situation?
That's
there's
so
even a question
interesting.
Like, there's even a question on the card that's like, if your fiance only spends $500 on your engagement ring, like, how do you feel?
Oh.
But it divides. It's a quick answer, and then you start to be like, oh, okay. But then you could also be like, the card asked the question, wasn't me. Like if it was a really like, you know,
totally that's
question.
your scapegoat. But also it's so smart that you do that because often in marriage, you're required to do marriage classes if you do it like through a church or institution.
Right.
And part of the marriage classes are a lot of questions like that. And let me tell you the amount of stories I have heard of like, you know, crazy blowout fights and or arguments. And you think to yourself, like, how have you never talked about this before? But it's also like,
People
when
don't
would
ask the
this
tough
actually come up?
questions.
Yeah. Like,
So,
I don't
and
know.
I find the people who do ask those tougher questions are the people who've really worked on themselves and have been reflective. Because to be honest, you hear about people who are avoidant people, like, you know, if you know about attachment styles, they're like, don't like deep questions.
Right.
So they avoid it like the plague.
Right.
So that's why it'll never come up. Right? It's like the people who are like, what are we?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't really want to talk about that. It's like, no, these are necessary questions. So people who have worked on themselves and know what they want, they'll be the ones who will ask the deeper questions. Because, and also that's what fuels them. It's like, yeah, we had an intellectual conversation that wasn't just surface level of like, yeah, so what'd you do this weekend? Mm-hmm. And, you know, what do you like? It's like, no, it's like I love, and that's what I coach people on. Like, ask deeper questions, but like, when was the last time you cried? Mm-hmm. Or like, when's the last time you were really, that's something that made you really proud? Or, you know, who are you closest to in your family and why? Like, ask questions that really, not yes and no questions. Like, did you eat today? Yes. Great. What do you like to eat? Sushi. Like, one worded answers. Like, ask the open-ended questions, but something that's deeper and just more interesting. Right?
Yeah. It's like dating intentionally.
Yes.
You know, and really getting to the root of who someone is as a person. And yeah, that's how you're going to date smart. Date intentionally, date smart.
Yes. And that's what I hope people do. And
thank you for educating Toronto.
I'm helping women out there.
Thank you, Andrea.
Hopefully more dateable men, one event at a time. Again, back to that Reddit post. It is true. Like, there is a bigger gap between the men and women I've seen. So I'm hoping, you know, between the events, the services I offer, and what's out there, and all these podcasts, and like, I just hope people will watch them and think twice about, are you bringing me to Tim Hortons, or should I hold her bag, or walk on the side of the road? It's just like and again, it's not high maintenance. We just live in a different world now.
Yes, and we do.
It's time to upgrade.
It's time for an upgrade.
100%.
Okay, Andrea, for people who are watching and or listening, where can they find your events and more information about your services and what you do?
Yeah, it's at torontodatinghub.com. You'll find all the events, the services, and from there you'll find all the social links. So Toronto Dating Hub.
Amazing. Thanks so much for your time. This was so much fun.
Yay, thanks for having me. So much fun.